Okay, today's message is on the Bible verse from Matthew 9:13, but it's going to be 9:13a. The first listing on this page is the New International Version. But go and learn what this means. I desire mercy, not sacrifice. It does go on from there, but I'm focusing on the first half. You can also read the context from the Berean Standard Bible, which has also 12. On hearing this, Jesus said, "It is not the healthy who need a doctor, but need the sick. But go and learn what this means. I desire mercy, not sacrifice." And that's where I'm going to end that. Also listed here are the cross references. It is a cross reference to Hosea 6:6. For I desire mercy, not sacrifice, and the knowledge of God rather than burnt offerings. Is also referenced in 12:7. If you had known the meaning of I desire mercy, not sacrifice, you would not have condemned the innocent. So there's all the verses that it comes from. Basically, why I'm doing this is so you understand why I speak the way I do. I mean, last week you might have been confused. Why am I saying that? But, the message on illegal immigrants and how I don't think you should be going to seek them out. Basically, if Jesus tells us to have mercy and not sacrifice, it means it's more important to be merciful to people than, offer burnt sacrifice or adhere to religion strictly without any pity or compassion for others. So, if you personally are doing this to others, kind of like one of the big movements we have here in this country, they aren't using the mercy side of God's will. They don't look at the part where Jesus is telling people to look for the log in your neighbor's eye. You must remove the one in your eye first. That verse. They're not thinking of that. They're thinking of, oh, these people are wrong because they do this and that and another thing. Well, what haven't they done wrong, Isn't persecution of a certain race because, or a certain group of people because they're not doing what you want, like working? Well, if you gave them a job that might help, a lot of your corporations will refuse to give out work as well because someone doesn't have a 4-year college degree or some other ridiculous excuse. And then there's the ones who decide, well, this group is bad because they're different from me or whatever, or they do different things and I have to watch them and things like that. Well, that's not very nice. Basically, you're not giving people a chance. There's a lot of things that come out of not adhering to this having mercy on others part. I've even had a site that said the Jews were not taking compassion on the poor and they were actually oppressing them. So this verse came out of that as well. So when you decide you're so self righteous that you cannot see others as fellow human beings and fellow, like basically capable of sin as much as you are, and you can't see yourself as not better off spiritually than them, that everybody has to go through the same process when they get to heaven and they have to be judged as worthy for heaven, then if you're just doing that, just basically disdaining people because they're not like you, then you're not really right about that. You have to think of others as similar to your situation, and that remember that you can't do everything right. So you can't expect everyone else to do everything right. You have to give mercy. You can't just fire someone because they disagree with you. You can't fire them because you had some incident with them. You have to give them chances. You have to do things that make sense according to your Christian religion. If you consider yourself a Christian, you don't just get angry and get rid of people or throw them out or decide they're no good because they're a certain way. You have to give people a chance. And if you're going to sit there and tell people they don't make money, then you have to make jobs specifically for people that they can do without going to college or going to special school or you know you can't just blame people for not having a job when you refuse them a job based on oh, I have to make sure a college person gets it, but it really doesn't require college. You're deciding all that, you're actually discriminating against people who are poor and can't get these college grants or loans toward college and can't afford it. You're discriminating against the poor, basically. And it's really wrong. This is why college should be probably considered something that you give out for free. Because it's getting ridiculous that people keep getting refused when they're perfectly good people. And you're having no mercy on them, forcing to pay money they don't have. And if they don't make it through the degree, they end up paying for it or declaring bankruptcy because they can't pay for it. How are you going to get your money if they're bankrupting on paying for the school you forced them to go to because otherwise you wouldn't give them a job? You got to give people chances. I mean, if you're not going to make school free, at least give out more scholarships or make people pay less if they know more about the subject. Get people on the fast track into college if you want college graduates and you're whining about not being able to fill the jobs, but you don't give anybody a chance to have the jobs because of your high standards. Things like that. If you're not going to show mercy in all aspect as a Christian, please do not put Christian employer in front of your name or advocate how Christian you are when you're just not very merciful. And that's one of the things Jesus likes is merciful, love one another. You just can't love one another when you're being so high and mighty, that's all. So, I hope you learned something good from this message, what mercy means and how important it is to be merciful when you are a Christian. Thanks for listening. And if you want to catch the Bible verses I read in more detail, you can go to BibleHub.com, Matthew 9 through 13 HTM. And you can look up all these verses. They have clickable links to any cross references. I also have the other page, BibleHub.com, Hosea 66 HT.htm. There's slashes in between the BibleHub.com, then Hosea /6. It's also in the math. I probably post a link somewhere in the video, probably the credits that follow to read more in detail and decide for yourself how many applications this can be. You know, basically focusing on the mercy, it can take many forms, but you do not just go around enforcing your will on other people. And that's what this is saying. Basically, you're supposed to be merciful and give people chances. So, once again, thanks for listening. I'll try to be back next week with a new message. Bye.